Anyway, welcome back to D365 Shot First
Shot First.
with
Cam Dry.
and Charlie Rodgers. Don't know if we ever named the last name.
We probably don't, yeah. Well,
No.
find me on LinkedIn, yeah.
Find me on. I don't even know. I haven't got Twitter actually.
What, you haven't got LinkedIn?
I'm not LinkedIn, but not Twitter. I feel like everyone in Microsoft just loves.
Oh, they do, don't they? Yeah.
Dynamics loves a good Twitter post.
Oh, yeah. And like taking a screenshot of it and then sharing it everywhere else, because just copy and pasting it's not going to do the trick.
Anyway, today we want to talk about how perfect is the enemy and progress is king.
Progress is king.
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
So
We're making progress with this. Look at us go.
You're far from slow progress. Well, that's it. Otherwise, that's the thing. Like, prime example is a great example because there's no way anything I do is going to be perfect,
Sure, neither.
but could be all right.
We'll see how it goes.
We can get there.
As long as it's better than, any
The time before, that's what I said.
Then
I actually have a life saying I try and live by every day. I write a journal now. Start to write a journal. I'm getting a bit older.
Is this online anywhere for us to read or?
No. Definitely not online.
Okay.
It's just like a journal. Like I wake up and I go, things I want to get. Basically, but it's from trading.
Okay.
So anyone that doesn't know, I love trading like commodities and things like that. So what I've always been taught is you want to do like one thing you want to learn each day.
Okay.
One thing you have learned from the day before.
Okay.
And one thing you want, or a few things you want to get done in that day.
Okay.
But basically just what you want to get done in the day, plus something you want to learn in that day.
Okay. Like set yourself up for the day.
And then in the evening, you just reflect on, have you done the things you said you're going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Have you learned what you wanted to?
Mm-hmm.
If not, you need to hold yourself accountable to try and get those things done. Which has to be more.
Okay. So you're kind of guaranteeing, like setting up a system for yourself to make sure that you're always getting better.
Well, that's it. I always say 1% a day. And the compound interest on that would mean you're like 3 times better by the end of the year. So
You gotta work in finance.
it's amazing. Yeah, someone said. But it means you haven't got to do much.
That is fair. And little incremental chunks. Surely it's got to be better than trying to, if you were to go and try and do a massive degree and then leave this degree with like 15 years of trading experience and then expect to make money on the stock market. Like it's not going to happen like that. You need to.
Well, this is it. It's a lot harder to achieve one massive task than it is to achieve hundreds of tiny tasks.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that's why, ultimately, why it's always better to make progress rather than wait until things perfect. And I wanted to get in more around how, for me, the interest here is around how a dev would do it, because we've got 2 devs on the BC team currently. We're hiring a third. So we've got 2. Simon, very much, you give him a little bit and he can do a lot.
Okay.
Whereas Dom, but he's takes a bit longer. Whereas Dom, unbelievably quick, but he wants it exact.
Okay.
So he wants it defined to him perfectly and he'll get it done really quick.
Okay.
Simon's really good at like, you give him like a title of what you want to learn.
Okay.
And he gets 90% of the way there, which takes a bit longer, obviously, because he's trying to figure out what you want.
Of course, yeah.
However, in different circumstances, that works perfectly. Depending on if you're a discovery and they want to see what can be done and you're just trying to give them a little mock-up. Or, in Dom's case, if you've got to get a project done and you're on a deadline, it'll just get it done if you know what you want. So I wanted to know from a dev's point of view and from a CE side also, how you find it, what you prefer, what you think's better.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a spectrum of developers, right? Like there are people who sit, as you said, like far on the right side, where I put them on the right for no particular reason, where, you've got people who are super detail orientated. They just want to know every little minutia about that particular task that they need to do. They want to cover every single possible edge case and make sure that everything is coming out exactly perfectly. And then you've got the far left-hand side where people just don't really care, call them cowboy developers, cowboy coders, where they just come and go, yeehaw, slap some stuff together, and if it kind of works, then that's good enough for them, kind of thing. I wouldn't place myself on either end of the spectrum. I'd say I'm probably more to the right, but definitely somewhere in the middle. And I think you touched on that on my reason just now, and that it's all about the context. So if I'm, as you say, whipping up a quick concept for a customer, there's no need for you to handle, all of those extra edge cases. Understanding the user base is also a good, important part of that. If you know that people are quite used to using the system already, they're not likely to be making missteps that would probably mess up your process. There's no point in putting all these extra safety guards around things and making it as efficient as possible. Sort of okay is good enough, really. And, it comes down to how much people are willing to spend on stuff, but cheap is always better if you can manage it right. So yeah, I would vary my level of perfection, I would say, but I would definitely say that you should just release something if it's good enough. If it's doing the job, you can always come back later and improve upon it. Certainly. Yeah.
Do you think that relates to like the size of project and the complexity of the project? Do you think you're a bit more on the right side of that if it's a larger project, a more complex, more integrations, more that could go wrong?
Yeah.
If it's a smaller project, that's maybe no integrations, just
Yeah. I think you're very right with that. A small plugin, for example, that needs to update 2 records when a certain field is updated in Dynamics certainly doesn't need that much perfection behind it. Doesn't need a lot of like pondering over and mulling over the details. Whereas a 3-system integration that's handling multiple tables, there's multiple dependencies, you're really going to need to make sure that you've covered every possible entry point into that particular bit of code to make sure that it's as perfect as it can be within reason, of course. Otherwise, you are just going to make more work for yourself further down the line, for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's one of those things that, for me, the difference might come from MVC, ERP side of things. We're probably, maybe a different delivery method than you might be on CE.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to talk a bit about that and how you think from a dev point of view, and I know you're on consultancy now, and if the dev point of view is more different, how you prefer things being delivered to how, as an ERP consultant, we deliver things, and if that has an approach. So I wanted to ask, like, as a dev, like, what's your preferred method of things being delivered? How do you often get things delivered on project?
Delivered as in actually released out into the production environment. So I'm a big fan of automated pipelines. So DevOps deployment pipelines, where ideally you're running some sort of automated tests that you've written for we're talking specifically about code here, but you're checking all your business cases and you're making sure that all the acceptance criteria are being met after a change has been made. And then, so you run those unit tests before automatically entering into the deployment phase. And the reason why I'm such a big fan of deployment pipelines is not only because it's faster, but it's also less vulnerable to errors. So we, at the end of the day, we're talking to computers. We are, we're telling a server up in the cloud to do something, and we are imperfect as human beings. Like, we all make mistakes. Maybe, we're halfway through releasing something, someone will come in and interrupt you, and then you'll come back to it and you've forgotten what you've done. Or there's many different factors that can affect a human performing a release that just aren't applicable to an automated server that's in the cloud that's doing it for you. So the idea behind automated pipelines, you figure out how to do it once, and then you just never have to look at it again. You just click a button and go. And that really makes progress over perfection really easy to achieve, because it becomes very easy to release these tiny little incremental changes to their production environment, rather than trying to build this one big massive solution and then just dropping it in one big go, or trying to make those tiny incremental improvements while having to do a big manual release where the release takes you an hour because you have to do this and do this and do this and these extra things. Whereas complete the pull request, the pipeline triggers automatically and then just pushes the code up as far as you want it to go, which makes it very easy to do continuous improvement and continuous delivery for the customer.
Yes, it's very similar to us then, because like I say, in the consultancy side of it anyway, for BC, can't really speak on the dev side.
Sure.
But for the consultancy side, you're right. Like, there's a lot of times we'll do like a workshop with the client, and it's much easier to have hour, 2-hour workshop where you just walk through how they want things to work. You show them what you've done so far, and you might have been doing 2 or 3 hours prep, within like actually configuring the system to work for them.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be able to go, oh yeah, it's kind of doing what I want, it's kind of not. I want it to do this, and it's much easier to walk through it than it is to go, I'll build your whole system. Let's try and go end to end and see if it works. Because realistically, you're going to have 20 or 30 changes that need to be done. They're then going to go MBC, you take one Boolean field different, and it changes the whole way. Because as we were talking about earlier this morning, we were just chatting amongst ourselves. It's like BC is very much dependency based. It's very much like a flow that things need to work through. So if you change something, in table A, it's going to affect table X all the way down here. So
it's quite fragile like that, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I don't like the word fragile.
You don't like fragile?
Okay. Sorry. We're investigating as well.
Anti-fragile.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it is actually quite fragile. You're right, because like you said, and then that would mean you have to then reconfigure all those other options based on that value you just put in there. So I think it's much easier to often do. You have to have an understanding of what you want end-to-end and a solution designed end-to-end. But when you're getting into the minute details of, especially for a complex system, you go in with all the users and make sure they understand what they want and it's going to work for them, it's configured for them. Then you want, obviously, management, you need to find that middle ground of what they both want.
So can I ask you, so I don't know very much about BC still. And so what is what does it actually look like? What are the physical steps that you have to take when you're taking a solution, I guess, something you've built in the development environment, and you're pushing it up to, let's just say, the UAT environment? Like, what does that actually look like?
So effectively what will happen is it'll be, I'm trying to think of it in like C terms. So in, for example, Formus's dev environment, whatever it is, we've all got our own, what do you even call it, like instance.
Okay.
In BC, it'll be like you have an environment, and where we've got instances, we'd have companies, usually.
Okay.
So you might have, so there's multiple ways you can do it really, but it depends on the client and what the project is. But we'd usually also have your dev UAT prod, and sometimes we'll have like a pre-prod and things like that for really testing like live data and things.
Sure.
And then if you're doing development, it'll also just go in source code.
Mm-hmm.
Source code's per environment. I'm assuming the same as C. And then they'll just deploy it when we've tested it in dev, or they'll obviously made it in dev, test it in UAT, normally with proper data. And then if that's good, depending on the size of the project, they might have a pre-prod. Let's see, then with live data.
Okay.
Not just with data we just keyed in.
Sure.
And then that will then obviously go to prod.
Okay.
And that will then be deployed through source code.
Okay.
When it comes to config, but obviously we've done or configured, like it's already built, but you obviously build out the system. You can do, I don't want to get it wrong, you effectively, there's multiple ways you can do it. You can either just go in and reconfigure live if it's only like a small change you've made.
Okay.
So let's say in sales and receivables, you can change it. So when you have like sales order, so you can transact like a GL line, a resource, an item. It's like a fixed charge, whatever it's called, to like shipping usually or something like that.
Sure.
You can configure what you want that to open up. So if you only sell GL accounts or like trade with GL accounts, you want it to automatically base on that. So if you're only doing like small changes like that, you're always then just gonna just go in and change it because it's quicker.
Okay.
Or you can do what we call config packages, which are effectively the Excel version. It'll be like have all the fields in a table.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a config package for the setup as well as the data.
Okay.
So that's how we get all the data in the system. It's also, you can do one for the config. So when all the config's right, you can just template that straight into the new system.
Wow. And you get like an export file.
Exactly.
That you download and then you can
import. Exactly.
Okay. Interesting. So it's kind of similar to the CE then. We have those solutions and the layers and
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all, it's very similar. You're actually right. Where you just import, export.
Okay.
And then export it, then import it back in.
Okay.
So it is very similar.
So just to go back to what you said about, because I mean, we're here to tech out about the minimal details here. So I've seen companies as a concept in BC before, and I've seen it like tacked onto the end of APIs. So you were talking about different instances. So we have multiple, like our own instances. You're doing development for 2 different clients at the same time. So you, as a Formus developer, would you have the same, like a BC environment with the same web address, but 2 different companies in it? Or would it be 2
different clients?
2 different clients, unrelated to each other. Would you have the same instance with different companies?
Different environments.
A whole different environment. Okay. So what does the company, what purpose does the company serve within a BC environment?
So, well, it's basically normally tax related.
Okay.
Or well, it could be for many reasons. So like, for example, the aerospace company we've done recently, they've got a sister company, which they're going to have in a different environment because it's in France. And they want to obviously so it depends, because you can have trading companies, or like if you've actually got a base of operations there, you've got like warehousing and factories and employees and things like that, you might want a different tenant.
Mm-hmm.
And BC now allows you to do cross-tenant, like data and things like that. So it's got a lot better recently, in fairness to it. But a lot of the time it'll be for, if you've got multiple companies that you just want to transact between, and they haven't got any reason to have a BC environment or tenant, because they're not massive operations, or they haven't got loads going on, but you do trade in a different country.
I see.
So you'll need the like tax rules, you'll still need the accounts and things like that.
Okay.
And you can do like intercompany transactions and things. You can still manage it all from the UK, which is normally the main reason.
Interesting.
They want to manage it all from here, but it's normally just accounts that you're trying to keep hold of. You're not actually trying to like run operations from, well, they might still run operations from there, but.
Right. Okay. That's really helpful. I've always kind of wondered what that part of it was. Kind of sounds a bit like business units in CE, sort of, but not really.
Yeah, similar to be fair.
Okay.
It's just, that's pretty much what it is.
Okay. And then you're exporting that config per company, and then that's going up to the higher environments from there.
Yes, and that'll go to live.
Interesting.
Obviously per company, some of the data will be different. The config should stay pretty much the same.
Okay. Do you know of anyone who's automating your BC deployments? Have you heard of that happening before? Is it possible even?
We don't do it. Whether it's, I don't know if it even would be possible.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good question there.
Interesting. So do you think that would make it harder to go for progress over perfection when it comes to PC?
Yeah. But no, because I was going to say in the workshop, you could just sit in UAT or dev, and then when you finalized it, you could just do a deployment.
Okay. And that just moves it over.
Yeah, so you probably could.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a use case where you couldn't, but I couldn't see any reason why you couldn't. If you've just done a 2-hour workshop and you've got a couple of things finalized, I don't see why you couldn't have, like you said, an automated release that pushes that up.
To deploy, yeah.
You probably could.
Yeah.
Well, that's something we should look into. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's possible. So how do you do it on? I don't know how that's even done on CE, to be honest.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. So yeah, of course. Yeah. So as we don't have any companies, so myself as a foremost developer, let's say same example, working on 2 different clients, they would generally give us login details. I'd have login details for client A and login details for client B, and they never interact with each other. Then dealing with an individual client, we then have 3 environments, which sometimes more, sometimes less, but usually 3: dev, UAT, and production. We do all of our work in the development environment. So we're never actually doing any config in the higher environments at all. Some people do, but I like to use managed environments, managed solutions, that kind of thing. It just makes it really easy to handle in an automated way. You keep really tight control of your environment, and it's just really easy to replicate bugs in different environments if you're not making changes all over the place. So yeah, in dev, we would then, how I like to do it is I create one solution. So I generally call it FormusPro. So now you will be in charity A, and we've got a FormusPro solution in there. And then that charity knows that anything in that solution is something that we have worked on, which is really easy to differentiate between things. And because those are unmanaged solutions, you can layer on top of other people's solutions as well. So if they've come from 3 different other providers, and we've got 3 different providers work in there, we can just layer ours on top of that and then just pull all of that information out. So yeah, what I'll then do is I'll set up a pipeline that goes into the dev environment, and then it extracts that solution, and that comes out mostly in the form of XML files.
How do you get it to extract the solution?
So there's a step in a DevOps pipeline. There's a Power Apps connector. I think it comes installed as standard in most DevOps environments now, but you can also just add it in from the free marketplace. And yeah, it connects up to the metadata API, I believe it is. It finds, because what a solution is really is it's just a series of pointers to customized components. So if you want to say, for example, I want to rename the ID field on the account record from name to subject. I'm not sure why you do that, but here you go. So then you add that change into the solution. Inside that solution, it has a reference to not only the name field, but also to the customization that you made. So it tracks within which solution that was made in. So then when I go and extract the solution, it brings that change with it. That makes sense. And that's all as part of the XML file. It's a very complicated folder structure, which I then source control, which I think not a lot of people are doing. So I'm taking that exported XML solution, I'm committing that into a repo in DevOps. And the power of that is because it comes in, then you can do a PR review against what's changed there. And that's very important. It becomes tricky when you've got multiple developers working on an environment at the same time, because you've got 2 people making changes to the same solution. But in an ideal world, you've got one consultant doing one thing at a time. He spends an hour customizing an entity. He does an extraction and pull request, and you can see exactly then what's changed. So if he's only been tasked with going and add 4 fields to the account entity, according to the dev task,
you see 10 things change.
You see 10 things change, or you see another entity come in there, or you see some other customizations. You can immediately go, whoa, this isn't right. We need to look into why this actually happened. And that's really important, because exporting solutions, if you don't do it like this way, then it's a very blind kind of fire and pray kind of approach. You kind of just got to hope, oh, it looks like it's working. You kind of send it over. With this, you've got really tight control over what's going on there. And it also helps you to fix specific errors and specific issues that you're having with config, because you're getting used to reading the actual XML file. It's a bit like the matrix code. It looks really confusing at first. When you start seeing the changes and understanding what's happening behind the scenes, it becomes a lot easier to read. So I do into the DevOps repo, and then you approve the pull request. That code then gets merged into a main or a master branch. And then I kick off a deployment pipeline from the code that sits in the repo. So I never deploy directly from my dev environment. I always deploy from the repo, because then you can see the exact XML files that got dropped into the UAT environment. You've got a full audit trail of all of that, rather than going, okay, yeah, dev looks good, let's just pull from dev again. Yeah, so it's very tightly controlled across the environments, and the same applies to production. It's the same code package that then gets pushed to production once they're happy with UAT. And that is good because it allows you to develop multiple features in the same sort of in one go, because you say, well, we've deployed features 1, 2, and 3 to UAT. You can test out. We've now deployed features 4, 5, and 6 to UAT. They've okayed 1, 2, and 3, but they haven't looked at 4, 5, and 6 yet. So we just approve the bottom pipeline, and you know that you're not bringing 4, 5, and 6 untested in there. It's only putting across 1, 2, and 3, which is just so invaluable for minute continuous improvement delivery. And it just makes it so much easier and, yeah, less prone to errors.
Yeah, it's very much something that if it's possible, I should look into and get done.
Certainly. I'm a massive advocate for it.
Because we have in our BC admin center, you can just do like a copy environment.
Oh, wow. Okay. Does that bring all the data with it as well?
Yeah. So often if we'll change, so if we do like some days, I mean, I'm almost against it anyway. We'll do whole days of like walkthroughs. So we'll do like 3 2-hour sessions almost. I think sometimes too long.
Okay.
But you do get a lot done. So it depends on timeline of projects. Like if you've got a longer timeline, there's no need to crunch the client for so long.
Sure.
But obviously sometimes if they want something, if they come to us in July and want it done by September, you're going to have a few days of 6-hour days with the client, so you actually make a lot of progress.
Sure.
Again, can't wait for perfect, otherwise they get nothing done.
That's it. Yeah.
But like you say, you might just sit in UAT with them, keep your dev as it was, keep your UAT, then you just work through, just test it with them, sometimes you do it in dev, depends on the consultant, how far on the project you are, depends on how much customization there is to do, really.
True.
And then like you say, when you're done with that, you'll then just click, you might go, you don't want to then go reconfigure the whole thing. You might just, after the session, save your recording so you know why you've done it, the client's approved it, whatever. You're then going to go in, just go to your admin center, copy the environment over, just copy it straight to your dev.
Oh, I see. So you do backwards copy. So you make all your customizations in the live environment and then you bring them back downstream.
Only when the customer is not live.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This is also before the customer goes, when the customer's live, you're not going to do anything in live.
Sure. Okay.
So then you actually do it forward.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
But by the time they're live, you shouldn't be doing mass.
Sure.
Yeah. You shouldn't be doing any mass configuration, really.
You'd hope so. I mean,
yeah. Well, sometimes you do. Also, sometimes you'll be developing, like, sometimes I go, MVP for us is just about buying and selling and keeping like the financials. And then they might go, in 3 months, like in the real world, they might already do projects. But if they haven't got the budget for that BC, they might just go, we'll hold off doing it in VC for now. And we'll keep doing it as we are. And in 3 months, 4 months, when we get a new budget, like April or whatever it is, the new financial year, we'll do projects. So sometimes you do more configuration as you go, but often you shouldn't really.
Right. Okay.
Because BC should be a reflection of how the company is running. Not just parts of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I said to you the other day, right, you want it to be a central repository, a single truth, source of truth if possible. So I'd always try and hone in
yes,
on that. But yeah, it's interesting because would you say you're more of a agile waterfall kind of, what's your approach, do you think?
Agile, certainly. Yeah. I know people have a lot of complaints about agile, but I've only ever worked in a very strong agile team and then sort of just less agile from there, I guess. I've only ever I've just seen it produce really, really good results, and I've not really seen anything that can beat it in my own personal experience. I know theoretically there are lots of other things, but yeah, I'm certainly a agile over waterfall just because of everything that I can do from the automated releases side of things. That just makes it so easy to release those tiny little chunks at a time, as opposed to building one big system at the end.
So for those people that aren't aware of what agile and waterfall is, do you want to give a quick?
Sure. All right. And try to get my dictionary out here.
Summary of both, just in case someone isn't aware of.
Yeah. So I forget exactly how someone explained to me once how waterfall got its name, but the idea is, there's a great analogy I saw actually the other day, and it's got to do with building motor cars. So a waterfall approach to building a motor car is you start with nothing, and then you end with a car, and there's no steps in between. It's just start and then make a car. I can't deliver.
So when you've ordered one, you're only going to get a finished product.
Yeah. Thank you for rounding off my thought.
You needed the wheels.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, and the car without the wheels makes no sense. So you need to make sure, and that's how waterfall works. So, okay, we've built the wheels, but it took us 2 weeks longer. Therefore, we're going to start on the axles 2 weeks later, and that kind of flows down waterfall. I believe that's how it gets its name. Where Agile is, okay, we'll start you off with a bicycle, right? So you can get from A to B. Then we'll give you a moped, because then we'll put an engine on it. You can do it a little bit faster. Right, we'll then make a quad bike. So you've got 4 wheels, it's all good to go. Then we'll put a roof over the quad bike, and now you've got a car, kind of thing. So at every point of delivery, you start off with a minimum viable product, MVP, which is just to get you from A to B, the bicycle. And then you make continuous little improvements on it to then eventually get to what it is the customer is looking for, is my understanding of it, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's hard to understand as a BC design whether what we do, actually, because the process is agile, but effectively, they're not going to go live, usually, again, depends on project, I guess, until the system is as they need it.
Wow, interesting.
But occasionally, depending on how complicated the project is and what they want done, and how happy they are with the old system they've got, sometimes you do just go live at MVP, and you progress as you go. So I guess it does always depend on the project, actually. That's the thing with ERP, right? Like if they've got, because some companies will just be getting Business Central for the finance overlook and the view as a finance point of view. Some of them will be doing manufacturing and warehousing, and that's more important to them. Some people say, our MVP is finance, but we want to add the manufacturing and things like that afterwards.
Sure.
So I guess it depends.
Yeah. Like trying to split the chain in too many places by adding future products, right? We want to try and have like a little bit of the chain and then add to the beginning and the end rather than trying to squeeze stuff into the middle. My understanding of BC is correct.
Yeah, that's it, 100%. Like you said, yeah, sometimes it is. I think most of the time it's agile, but sometimes it is waterfall and you end up just doing A to B, but there are 100 odd changes in between, so I don't know where that would fit in exactly.
So you mentioned earlier doing these, what do you call them, the workshops with customers, and where you're taking them through, they're not live yet, but you're taking them through the system and they're clicking on buttons, they're using things, and they say, oh, it'd be great if it could X. And then you go straight away and you make the change, they go back and then they do the same thing again, they go, oh yeah, this is great. So I appreciate that that's when you're not live yet. But then is that then considered the customer's UAT? Is that they've tested, they're happy with how it's working?
No.
This is how we're approaching it. You then do a separate round of UAT after that?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So the system build will usually be with managerial people, so like the higher ups usually, and what they want it to be.
Right.
Their UAT is very different to actual UAT and actual users who are going to be running the system day to day.
Right.
So let's say I've got a regional director or regional manager saying, this is what we need to do, tax-wise it needs to do this, operational-wise this is the process we should follow. I always speak about aerospace, this is what I've been doing for the last 2 years.
It's on your brain.
Yeah, it's all I do at the moment. I enjoy it, so it's all good. Let's say for them, managerial staff, they're more concerned about auditability.
Auditability.
Yeah,
okay.
How do you say it?
Yeah. Sorry. Audibility is what it sounds like, I think.
Yeah, maybe. And like you say, like having documents to prove it's been tested, this, that, and the other, and having it all on the system. Obviously, the users day to day, like the factory workers, the managers of the factory workers, the operational staff in the warehouse making stuff, don't care about that really, because that's not their job. Their job's making it and making sure their time's tracked, their materials tracked, scraps tracked, that kind of stuff, their time. All of that stuff is what they care about. So the UAT with them will be very different to the managerial staff. Like we produce documents, we produce custom reports and things like that. They're easy to test.
Sure.
Because you just click print on something and you look at what the PDF looks like.
Right.
And if it's right, it's right. If it pulls through the right data, it's right.
Yeah.
Whether the manufacturing and warehouse stuff works, when they're on handhelds and you've custom built and developed these handhelds, whether that works can't just be a one test done.
Right.
Like we do normally like months, like we'll give them like a month of, it depends on the client really, on their availability, but so like this one, for example, the one about the aerospace one, we did a month parallel go live, which was their choice. We actually advocated they didn't do a month because we thought it'd be too much workload on users.
Yeah.
But they were comfortable doing a month. They've already done, apparently they did it a few years ago, so they were fine doing it. And like I say, within that month, you want to drive out, if they're just running as usual, operating as usual on those handhelds, as well as obviously their system from previous, you're going to have ironed out any issues, any errors. They're going to have done happy path, unhappy path. They're going to have crossed every path, basically. So it's all about, we give them time to basically test in anger.
Okay.
And that's the important thing, I think. But no, the UAT we're doing on workshops is in the UAT environment, but that's just normally because the data is better in UAT.
Right.
Because you haven't had devs just typing in what they want to something works.
Yeah. You've got to be creative with your test account names, right? Test account one's not going to cut it for me. Yeah, like it's the Ninja Turtles is a frequent occurrence in my dev environments. Yeah, yeah.
Well, the different ones are just Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, different
Yeah,
Ninja
like,
Turtles. Yeah.
what are the different names? Like Milo? No,
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo's.
Yeah, yeah. Just Leonardo.
Yeah, Leonardo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
No, that's not Aaron Raphael.
that's them. That is them. Yeah, I used to work for a company that developed software. One of them being the coroner's management system. So handling investigations into deaths and that kind of thing. And in our dev environments, we used to add all the Game of Thrones characters that got killed off that week. It got very full very quickly. It was great. But no, sorry, just to bring it back, I was just quite interested to find out what your UAT is like, because we're talking about obviously perfect versus progress. And so I find with how I release solutions to the UAT environment with my release strategy is that the users only need to test very small chunks of the system at a time. You deliver the bicycle to them and they go, yep, I haven't fallen over yet, this is great. But it would be great if we had a side mirror so I could make sure no car's going to hit me, extending the metaphor as far as I want. But it's a lot easier for users to test those little features and for them to buy into the system because they're seeing it change as they're still familiar with it. They're not just seeing this, oh, we used to use this system, now we use this brand new system. What is this? Holy cow, how do I manage this? Yeah, I was just kind of trying to get a sense of how you maybe try to achieve that with BC, where it's probably a little bit more deliver the whole product rather than the little increments. I know you say it is possible to do the increments, but yeah.
One shot's almost all your increments, right? Like you can do like a 2-hour session, you're going to get so much covered in that 2-hour session. Mm-hmm. And you'd get a buy-in from the client because they're with you the whole way. Mm-hmm. Whereas it's probably a bit different from C, where you actually go and develop something and change it. We're changing it with the client on a call.
Right, okay.
A lot of the time. We do go away sometimes and just develop, right, and configure. But, when you need things to be certain and the client's not 100% sure and they want to see what's possible, you just configure it with them on a call, show them what they can do. And if they're like, I'm not sure, you can just turn it on, test it. And if they get the postings they want or, it performs in the way they want, great. If it doesn't, turn straight back off.
Yeah, it sounds very organic that way. It kind of grows naturally with their requirements.
Well, that's it. Don't get me wrong. You've always got to make sure, as a consultant, then scope creep is not something that occurs because as you're just testing things, it can. But like you say, I think that's the best way you get buy-in. The client, the whole way, is felt like they've made the decisions. So it's their system, they own it, and that's really important. Like, then they are not using it for a lifetime. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
we use it for a year, 6 months.
Yeah,
I'm not going to look at it again anytime soon.
Of course. Yeah.
So as long as they feel like they own it, and also it allows them that if in 6 months of going live, they're like, I actually don't, I want to change what my sales order defaults to, or whatever it may be.
Sure.
They can just go and change it. It doesn't need to be a support ticket, or they don't need to email us like, oh, can we have this change request? That takes 5 minutes. They can just feel confident enough to go, oh, I know what the setup behind that means and what it does and how it works. I can go and do it. So it takes a lot of the silly little tasks that maybe you'll get on support or whatever off of the support lot, off of the burden off of them, which I think is really important. And it gives the client comfortability and confidence that they know what's going on. They don't rely on us as much, which is always quite nice. I don't know. It's just the way we do it, really. Whether that's 100% the right thing to do.
And it's worth you.
Well, the wrong thing to do. Well, so the BC practice is doing amazing currently. So you're only doing something right at the moment. I think it always goes back to, again, we always find that progress is better than perfect.
Yes.
Like, I'd rather them just try it. They'd go wrong. We get an error. We go, all right, if you don't enjoy it that way, we'll just turn it back off.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no harm in trying, right? Like, let's see how it goes. And if it's better, ideal. If it's not, we can go straight back to how it was 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, no problems whatsoever.
No harm, no foul, right? So
absolutely.
I think that's really important, but it all comes at a cost.
Yeah.
So, and that's with dev time. That's, I think, the tough thing. Right. Like, do you ever find that where you're like, the client might, I guess it comes with scope, but where you might go, like, say, they might want the wind mirrors. They might want a roof. They might want everything on this little bike.
Yeah.
But you've got to figure out value. How do you determine value if a client's asking for it?
Value in terms like a monetary figure, how much this will cost, or?
Well, estimate, and then obviously the customer needs value out of it. So like, you might go, it's 10 grand.
Okay.
But then you somehow got to quantify that value for them based on their budget, right?
Okay, quantify as in like, so it's going to take us 3 hours to do this. It'll be another 4 hours to put the wing mirrors on, 6 hours for the roof. Try it.
Kind of, yeah. Okay. But like, obviously, so I'd look at it and go, we can do that development that might save people an hour, 2 hours a day.
Okay.
Right. but if it costs you 100 grand and you've only got a 200 grand budget,
Oh, I see.
you're better off just paying the employees the hour to do it.
Right, okay. And seeing what actually, like, what value is going to be added.
Yes, it's all about the ROI at the end of
Okay,
the project, right? Well, that's what we always try and figure out. Like, have we made it more efficient
Right.
and more viable? Is the ROI there? Or have we just created something that they like more, but isn't actually a good investment?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's definitely a very important question to be asking, especially with us these days. We very much live in an age of what's called digital maximalism, where we're constantly bringing in new technology things into our lives without really considering, we're only considering the positives. We're not considering the negatives. Social media is, I'm always in contact with my friends and this, but, we're kind of ignoring the depression and all the, the other sides of it. And that's just one example. So I think, yeah, that certainly does bleed into a corporate setting where you've got a manager who says, oh, well, I'd really like to have this shiny new button that, means that this happens. But if you're not improving the lives of the people who are using the system, you're not improving the quality of data that's being captured by that system, then, why spend money on it, really? Because those are kind of the only two things that matter, right? It's like making your users input good data into the system. That's what the whole system's based on. So yeah, it's definitely the right question to be asking as consultants, is to say, yeah, maybe this isn't the right thing for you guys to be spending money on, especially when you know the budget and you know how many other things you need to achieve with that amount of money. And maybe it's best to say, look, yeah, you've given us 200 grand for this, but maybe it's better if we're going to spend 100 grand on this, because you'll be better off if we don't do this. And yeah, I will quite often put my feet in the sand and, dig my heels in. Yeah. And just say, no, I'm not doing that, because that is going to be painful to develop. It's going to be painful to maintain, and it's going to cause you pain going forwards, and you're better off how you are now. And it's a difficult decision to make, I think. It's a difficult one to win the clients over, because you need to then understand not only what it is they're asking, but you need to understand why they're asking for it. And you need to give them, first of all, a good enough reason why you're not going to do it. And secondly, a workaround.
I'm assuming project managers aren't the most keen about ignoring 100 grand.
Yeah, that's generally what you have to, you kind of have to like battle with them a little bit as well. Like, what's that scene with the two T-Rexes or two Velociraptors? Yeah. For like, what's between clients.
Project managers like, that's good billable.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's not good for the client. It's not good for the client. You can't do it.
Yeah, you kind of have to trust your own moral sense of what's right and what's wrong. And, I like
your experience, right? Like,
True.
That's what it comes down to. If you want experience, you haven't seen it gone wrong before, and
yeah,
you wouldn't be able to make that call.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And that just comes with time, right? I mean, yeah, I've only been doing Dynamics for 4 years, and I learn new things every day, like every single day. Maybe not technical things, but tactical things, strategic things, personal things. Who to ask what question when, there's no such thing as perfect in consultancy itself as well, like people skills. And, you can never give a perfect demo. You can never do a perfect requirements gathering session. There'll always be one question that you didn't ask that you should have. And hindsight is the only way to tell you that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm still trying to learn how to do a timesheet on time.
Sorry if you're watching this, Sophie.
Yeah, no, I'm still trying to learn how to do it. I really am. I don't even know why either, because I look back and said, like, the day after, why didn't I do my timesheet yesterday? And I did this one journaling, right? That's why I started to journal, because I'm just like, why? I need to do the washing tomorrow. I won't do it for like 2 days. Yeah. And I look at my journal, what was I doing that day that I couldn't do that?
You need to put in your journal, do timesheets every day.
Yeah. I'm feeling quite good at it. I normally try and do it the morning after. Like right. In the stand-ups I've got in the morning, I've normally got a good half an hour of stand-ups in the morning. Mm-hmm. So I'm normally like, I'll try and get it done then. But like sometimes you get so engrossed in the stand-up, I'll forget I've got a timesheet to do.
Yeah.
And then Neil will message me and go like, can you do the timesheet? Oh yeah, sorry. My bad.
So I'll give you a little hack it's not really a hack, because it's a Chrome extension that I discovered. I was doing a bit of freelance consulting a few years ago, and I was doing my best to kind of try and, I needed to show how much time I'd spent working on the system, but also have a way to kind of evidence it and back it up. So kind of say, I, spend 2 hours working on DevOps item 33127. You open up 33127, you can see 2 hours burned against it. You look at the code that was committed and it kind of looks like 2 hours worth of work. So, the guy who I was reporting to, the man who was paying my bills, basically, he was very involved at the technical level at that point. And I found this really good Chrome extension I think it's called Clockify. Might recommend it to you. It basically just allows you to build a timesheet, and because it's a Chrome extension, it plugs into loads of different things. So if you open up like Google Drive, a document on Google Drive, you've got a little option to start a timer in the top right corner, and you click on that. If it's a DevOps work item, you can click start timer. When you start a timer on one thing, it stops the timer on the other task. So as you open up each one, you can, and I think it's an Outlook as well, so you can say start timer, wrote this email, and as you click stop, You can fill in a comment of what it is that you're doing. Yeah, I found it really, really valuable for my freelance.
Full detailed log of what you've done.
Fully detailed, yeah. And you can add in, if you are a freelance consultant, then you can add like, your hourly cost per hour, and you can set different categories, and your time is billed at different categories. Well, also you could I could write up a full report and send it over to him, and I never got a single quibble on any of my invoices for it, which was really cool.
Really good.
So yeah, it makes it really easy for people who forget to fill in their timesheets. So I'd recommend it to you and anyone out there who's struggling to keep track of their time, because it's a big part of consultancy, isn't it?
Was it real billable? Well, you guys do more fixed cost?
I think we're hourly billable, I think, is how we're coming in.
Yeah, but when you estimate something, is that your cost, or are you on T&M?
I don't actually know that detail, to be honest with you. Yeah,
because
we want to stay out of the finances several times.
We're the same. So Amy always says, stay out commercial of conversation.
Yeah, we're here to be technical advisors. We can make business recommendations, but we're not the ones with the money, changing hands or anything like that.
Nothing to do with us.
Yeah, we shouldn't be making our decisions or recommendations based on that.
When someone's agreed to price and cost of things, I can then get involved.
Yeah,
however long that takes.
There you go.
Yeah, but we're all T&M. We're always T&M. I'll give the best.
T&M stands for?
Time and materials.
Okay.
So, I might say, to configure that's going to design a pretty report, it'll take me a day.
Right.
Say that costs £1,200.
Okay.
If it takes me half a day, it costs £600. Cost me takes a day and a half. Cost you £1,800. But
right. You're really good.
You've got to understand there's always that
yeah, that wiggle room. Yeah.
Yeah, it's never going to be right. We always try and estimate on the higher end, so you always come in below, because clients prefer if you come in below.
Yeah, it's weird that how they seems to.
Yes, if they sign it off and it's worth the money at £1,800, if you then go, it's only £600, so I do it in half a day.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, great,
yeah,
ideal, thank you very much.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whereas then if you come at £1,800, they expected that cost anyway. So
yeah,
it's better. You always try and estimate slightly more, not much, because you want to put them off the work, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
No, you don't want them to think you're taking the Mac.
Yeah, and it is tricky that estimating the time and the amount of money that it'll take. I find myself doing more of that more recently, whereas previously, just as a pure developer, I was just given the estimated tasks, so I'd be there designing out the task and then making an estimate against them. But to then do to read a document or to be in an hour meeting and then go, right, this is how much an entire new system is going to cost for you. It's really hard to work out, especially with what we're talking about here. To deliver the perfect entire product, it's probably going to be about that much.
I was literally about to do that.
Yeah.
Finger in the air. That's rough gas.
But then you're not considering all of the little fixes and all the little improvements and things that you need to make.
Deployments and testing.
That's it. Yeah,
joyful stuff.
So you do your best, but at the end of the day, you need to just try and get as close to that estimate as possible. I don't think we have the luxury of just kind of going, oh, it probably take us about this long. We pitch early on how much it'll cost, and we have to do everything we can to stick to it, which is incredibly difficult.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I was going to say, poor Dom and Simon there. The amount of dev we do, well, you're right, we give them a rough description and they just got to go, see which way the wind's blowing today. And they're usually very good at sticking to it. So
fair. Well, you should call it vibe coding, just asking them to do stuff for you.
Give it a go. My vibe coding is, I'll just go to Dom, try and give him in some natural language of what I want to happen, and he'll confirm
it right out.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got some wizards over there.
He's brilliant. They're both brilliant.
Yeah, I've worked with Simon a fair bit. Yeah, it's good developer.
Very good. So how do you find that progressing between? I want to try and do a summary now. Would you say you're firmly on progress is better than perfect?
I would say firmly, yes. Get the bicycle first. Get yourself rolling down the street. You can go get your milk and eggs from the shop and come back in a little backpack.
Still better than walking.
There's still better than walking. There's no aircon and there's nowhere to safely put your eggs, but it'll get you from A to B, and then we can look at putting a roof over your head later on.
So firmly between B, C, and C, I think we agree.
Really?
Because I think it's so pointless in timeline and you just need to make progress, right? What's the point in waiting?
Yeah.
That's what I just don't understand. Is that, like you said, why would you rather walk to the shop?
Yeah.
It's going to take you 2 hours when you can roll downhill on the way there on your bike. You might have to walk back up.
Yeah.
But on the way down,
at least you're getting there.
Plain sailing.
That's it. Yeah. The ice cream comes back unmelted.
Yeah, I'm slow walk. It's heavy mountain. I'd be sweating.
So yeah, definitely would agree. Yeah, progress is king.
Very much. Well,
progress is king.
Thank you very much, Cam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much all for watching.
Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Cheers.